Ever since Matt Stafford entered the league in 2009, his talent was clear to everyone. But after a dozen years with the Detroit Lions, with mostly losing and 0 playoff wins, his career was headed toward what-if status. Mainly, what if he played for a more functional organization with greater talent surrounding him? Fortunately for Stafford, Rams GM Les Snead is a gambler and went all in to get Stafford with one goal in mind: win the Super Bowl this year at home in SoFi Stadium. Now only one game away from that becoming a reality, it appears the trade and the high price was worth it. While the Rams have star-studded talent up and down the roster, they are here because of Stafford, who has not only been lights out in their 3 postseason games, but he has saved his best throws for down the stretch in critical moments against the Bucs and the 49ers.
Long time coming. Spent a lot of years in this league, and I've loved every minute of it. I sure am happy for this opportunity for not only myself, but really so many guys in that locker room that deserve this too.
You can argue there is no player who will be on the field at Super Bowl 56 whose career narrative stands to benefit more with a win than Stafford. Quarterbacks are fairly or unfairly judged by Super Bowls. Will Stafford join that exclusive club and cap off a dream season his entire career has been building toward this moment?
All right, thank you, AG, for breaking that down. The moment for Stafford will take place next Sunday at SoFi Stadium. Chance to go from #1 pick back in 2009 from Georgia, down the years in Detroit to maybe Super Bowl champ with the Rams. Look, it hasn't all been golden for Matthew Stafford. Currently leads and co-leads the NFL interceptions. But, of course, reaching the Super Bowl, all that will be erased if he's able to win that Lombardi next Sunday. All right, Brandon Baylor here checking in with the Hall of Famer Ray Lewis, and he knows a thing or two about that other side of the ball, the defensive side, which always wins championships, as we say, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Well, let's break down the defense a little bit. Yeah. The Bengals, of course, looking to kind of replicate the pressure they saw against KC, rushing only 3 and getting to Mahomes. Is that the formula this week?
Well, look, I think, Patrick, I think that was one of his not-so-great games, that he played. All that running around, it looks cute on television, but you have to win the game from the pocket. I think when you think about what the Bengals have, right, they have a chance to disrupt, similar to what Simmons done to the Rams early in the year, right? Getting that pressure up front. If you can get that pressure up front, I don't know, 3 rushers, there's a lot of men in coverage on the back end, right? And most of the times, quarterback, they do not prepare for that, right? Because it's hard to prepare for it because you don't know where the free guy comes from. You don't know who it is. Look at this, illustration right here. Just look at how there's nothing really to read, right? Yeah, you're reading 4 down, but now the end drops out up under Travis Kelce, right? Look at the pocket still collapsing with 3-man rushing, with a spy right on Patrick. So now Patrick comes out, the spy comes back up, right? So he's doing 2 jobs in one. So it's not just a 3-man front, it's a 3-man front with a spy, right? We used to do it a lot because we used to just roam and we used to dictate what guy would do that. I think Matthew Stafford, they have a different game plan. I think how they get the ball out very quickly. Now, if you play them in this type of defense as well, you have to really be careful because Cam Akers can have a really, really big game because they're most of the time going to check to the run.
By the way, that defense, they got 4 sacks and 5 hits on Mahomes in that one. But you talk about that game plan that the Rams might have, which involves a guy that won the Triple Crown, Kupp. How does that secondary kind of contain him? Because you won't be able to stop him.
Yeah, you cannot stop him. Congratulations to Kupp. I mean, he's had one of the most amazing seasons we've seen for a receiver. But one of the things that happens in every zone, every coverage has a weakness, right? And where he's good in using leverage, whether it's a linebacker's leverage, too far inside, I go outside. Too far outside, I come inside. If you play me with flat foot after 10 yards, I take it deep. And we saw that in the Tampa game. We saw that against San Fran. Over and over, this guy understands how to beat zones. The Bengals are going to have to match him and not play circle dropping. You got a lot of guys dropping in space and just watching the game. You're going to have to man him up to actually stop Kupp. If not, he's going to have an incredible game. But I truly believe this, that the Bengals, the way they play defense, I think it's going to be really interesting to see Matthew Stafford go through that zone and figure out where my sweet spots are. And I think the running back could be a big play in that.
Stafford and Kupp connecting for 11 receptions, $142 and touchdowns. That's pretty solid. I mean, that's the reason why they're in this picture here. But one matchup we might want to keep our eyes on, Jalen Ramsey, Jamar Chase, the rookie who's been nothing but a stud since coming in.
Be careful.
What do you want to see here between these two?
Hey, listen, I'm telling you, this is the matchup. If you're Jamar Chase, this is what you want.
Okay.
You know, you come into this game, you want the best. And if you're Jalen Ramsey, you saying, ooh, I got to teach this young boy a few things. But I'm telling you, this matchup, from the Rams side, I can see them saying this favors us. From the Bengals side, I can hear them saying this actually favors us because we believe this young kid has something special. And I say Joe Burrow, I'm saying this right now, Joe Burrow has to get the ball. I don't care if Rams on him or not, he has to get the ball to Jamar Chase 12 to 15 times. He is the plug. The biggest key for the Cincinnati Bengals is get Joe Mixon going. Joe Mixon is what opens up the run game. The pass game. He dictates everything. Physical running back. But Jamar Chase is the guy to take the top off of this defense and take their best player, Jalen Ramsey, on the back end, that secondary, and make it a very long day. And if he can do that, these Rams can make it very scary these Bengals can make it very scary in the Rams' home field.
If we're looking at Jalen Ramsey because we call him maybe the best corner in the league.
Yeah.
And he says it himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then also, is this where he makes his money? Because this is the Super Bowl. This is where he's already a star, but this is what makes you legendary in this match.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people during the regular season, it's great. It's amazing, right? Have a great careers. But if you want to continue to keep your name flowing in people's mouths forever, it's these games. Mm-hmm. It's Super Bowl 56 for Jalen Ramsey. And he has a young lion that's just stepped on that front that says, I'm not afraid of anything. And Jamar Chase has that mentality, has that attitude. I'm telling you, this is probably the biggest matchup of this weekend if they target him the way they should target him.
Mano a mano, of course. We're interested to see how that pans out in the secondary, but getting the trenches here. A lot of people have been talking about the Bengals O-line, their weakness, their only weakness if we're looking at that side of the ball. Whew. But then you look on the opposite side, you got a guy named Aaron Donald that we've talked about a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
And we talk about that front as a whole. Can they exploit some of the weakness there we saw on that offensive line?
I think they can, and this goes back, Brandon. This goes back to what I'm talking about with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon has to dictate this game. You saw when people run the ball and have success beating the Rams, they run the football, right? Because these guys want to hunt. They want to get after the quarterback. They want to get in these track stances and just get round, and Von Miller and Floyd, and they just want to wreak havoc. They slow the game down by running the football. If you let Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Leonard Floyd just pass rush you every play,
game records.
It's their game records. You cannot win the game like that against them. You saw this in San Francisco last week in the NFC Championship, right? Garoppolo makes the one big mistake, the two big mistakes, right? The point is, Cincinnati Bengals has to cover up their offensive line by running the football. And when they do go past, Joe Burrow has to grow up very quickly and understand, you don't have to make the big play every time. Get rid of the ball, live to play the next day, and keep the game going. Yeah.
If you look at this, and we talk about Aaron Donald all the time. I mean, we can plug him in as defensive player every year from the last 4 or 5 years and probably the next 2. When you look at what he's done, can Cincinnati truly slow him down? Because that seems like that's the X factor on this defense. You got Ramsey, you got Von Miller, you got Floyd, but that is the key to maybe slow that down and his offense can kind of move.
You know, a lot of people speak about the skill, right? I think when you talk about his presence, skills is one thing, but when you have the presence and what the standard is, he set a standard that even if I'm considered the best player, I go harder than anybody, right? That resonates around that entire team, most importantly, that defense. What I'm telling you is the only way to isolate Aaron Donald is you must run at him. You must make Aaron Donald play a game that, can he play it? Absolutely. But does he want to play that type of game? Nah, he does not want to play that type of game. And if you drop back and pass the ball with your offensive line, the mistakes that they've had, it comes from communication. Right, the right guard, left tackle, nobody's communicating with each other. They're letting free runners get through. If you let that happen with Aaron Donald, him and Von Miller on a race to see who's going to be the Super Bowl MVP if that offensive line does not figure out communication.
Von already got one of those, and he got one of these things.
He does.
You got two of those. We'll see how that pans out there in L.A. Of course, the conversation continues on Inside the NFL. Get the expert insight from the fellas, exclusive commentary, and special on and off the field interviews. I believe you guys are in L.A. for this upcoming show, right?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll catch them, of course, every Tuesday streaming at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Paramount.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.